Hey, everybody. Today is a great day. It's not only a great day, it's a fabulous day because I get to talk to two of the best people on the planet. You ever had that uncle sit there and he was a horrible uncle? And when the family got together, he'd start a really, really bad joke. And the joke was these three people walked into a bar. Everybody cringed, tried to dig for carpet. We happen to be three of those guys going into a bar. My name's Stuart Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. And I got to keep up with old David Blackmon here. Now I got to do my Dwight Yoakam here.
Your hat's bigger than mine.
It's because I got a bigger head. Okay. David Blackmon, first around the corner. You are a contributing Forbes author. You're a fabulous individual, but my head's bigger than yours. Now, with that, you have two podcasts. You have the Crude Truth. No, that's RT. Sorry.
That's the other guy.
That's the other guy. I'll get back to you. It is the Energy Question. It is doing fabulous. You've got great people, great stories. Then you have the Energy Transition. That is Brazil, the country of Dallas, London, and then you have Bulgaria. That is one of the best energy transitions. I get to steal my information. David, thank you and welcome.
Yeah, that one's fun. I love doing that one with Armando and Tammy and Arena. The information that I learned so much just from recording that podcast every week. It's phenomenal. I get like a whole week's worth of material, frankly.
I love Armando. When Armando goes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah, well, we're all over the place.
Yeah, I love Armando. I love me some Armando. Okay, coming around the corner after that is we have RT. He's a very soft-spoken oil man. Not. He's one of them good guys out there producing low-cost power as an EMP company for the United States. He's American, and he is a big dog over at Pecos Operating Country. He is the podcast host of The Crude Truth. He's had fabulous guests on there. Welcome, RT.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Well, for the first time in our history of podcast, I can't remember what number one, but RT, your head looks smaller than any of us. Normally,
I know. I'm going to have to. I'm picking up what I'm picking up what you guys are throwing down, and challenge accepted for next week. For those of y'all that are listening,
you've got to have one, right?
Yeah. For those of y'all listening today, all two of you. Last week Stu wore a cowboy hat, and this week, David's wearing but looks like a cowboy hat also.
It's kind of a cowboy.
And I think he's wearing if you ever watched, was it either Rio Bravo or El Dorado? It kind of looks like the hat that Michael Caine wore when he was called Colorado or Mississippi. They're basically the same.
James Caan.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
And he had a sawed-off shotgun.
Yes.
And he was a hoot. And he got that one guy by hitting the sign, and it hit the sign and knocked him out. And John Wayne came up and go, that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that was Rio Bravo.
That's Rio Bravo.
No. I'm sorry. You're right. It was El Dorado.
Is it they're basically the same movie. One's got Robert Mitchum, and the other one has Dean Martin in the drunk role. And then
Robert Mitchum was Rio Bravo with Ricky Nelson.
The
sidekick.
He was Colorado in that one.
Right.
And so again, same movie.
We're filming on Monday afternoon at 4:30. It's beer 30 somewhere.
It is definitely beer 30. So challenge accepted, you guys. Next week I will follow suit with both of you.
All right. Now, real quick, we got to get on with our stories, but here's the thing. I want to give a shout out to Steve Reese, one of the classiest guys in the energy space. He got us last week when he said, Stuart Turley, congratulations on being Marshall Dillon. I thought that was a nice compliment. And then, David, you show up and you look like Festus.
Ken Curtis.
We are there. So now, as long as you don't show up like the girl RT next week, we're good. Okay. We could be Gunsmoke. 3 podcasters walk into the Gunsmoke bar.
Oh, could you imagine us being actually one of the saloons downtown in the Stockyards area, Fort Worth? That'd be a fun
We're
one. to
going. We got the kit. We got
do.
the live kit.
We are.
Okay. Hey, RT, you had a story for us. What'd you have?
Yes. Today I kind of wanted to kind of go down a quick rabbit hole. So David, be ready. On my Substack today, I released. I'm going to self-promote today a little bit. On my Substack, I had a great article that I wrote in regards to our great Department of Energy Secretary. Jennifer Granholm. And I wanted to kind of talk about the fact that there have been reports and confirmation that she has been talking with some very anti-fossil fuel groups over the last several months about banning natural gas stoves. And so at first I'm kind of like, okay, I thought we had already passed this. It's not going to happen. But when these reports came out of who she was talking to is really why I felt so compelled to talk about this. Because at first, look, I'm all good for a good conspiracy theory. However, she is talking right now that when she first started doing this was with the RMI, which is, I'll just be real quick with them and say it one time, the Rocky Mountain Institute, who are a very anti-oil and gas and coal group. But also this RMI is also backed by a small country called China. So why is it that China is so worried about our natural gas stoves and why we need to get rid of them here in the United States? So that was really kind of what I wanted to just discuss today was this article, see if you guys had a chance to read it or knowing David already is familiar with the info.
Well, let me say one thing in this article.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, Batman. In this case, both, it's in this paragraph, RT, in case this both, the head of the Rocky Mountain Institute worked for the WEF, World Economic Forum, one of the biggest bunch of moronic, hateful groups in the whole world. Wow. I did not know that.
No,
it's amazing how it's all just interrelated, isn't it? All these organizations just circle around each other and feed each other with people.
I swear, I would think all these people were from Arkansas the way they're inbred.
It's a grand global conspiracy, isn't it? It's my favorite conspiracy. Yeah, RMI is as you said, very anti-fossil fuel organization that holds itself out as a benign think tank up in Denver. And they funded the study. They funded the study that, what's his name? Richard Trumka, who sits on the Consumer Product Safety Council or Commission, claimed to be using to mount his effort to ban natural gas stoves through that agency of the federal government. And Trumka claimed back in December that study had established a confirmed link between the use of gas stoves in the home and the prevalence of childhood asthma. But then when an actual news person that still do exist somewhere, I haven't figured out where, actually contacted the Rocky Mountain Institute and cornered them and asked them specifically if their study did indeed establish such a link, the RMI itself said, no, our study does not establish a cause and effect link. Right. And so, and of course, if it did, all you need to know about this, folks, is the American Lung Association, which is the foremost authority on lung diseases in our country and really in the world, does not say a word about gas stoves or gas appliances having any link to any kind of lung disease, childhood asthma, or otherwise in its literature. You can look on its website. It's all there for public consumption. And if there was a definitive link of any kind between the use of gas stoves and asthma or any other lung disease, the people at the American Lung Association would be letting America know about it. And they don't, because it doesn't exist. And, anyway, RMI is what it is, and their studies are what they are. And,
RT, the second, the third paragraph from the bottom was critical. It starts with now why. You want to read that one?
Yeah, no, it's like,
smokes.
now, but to me, the real point is like, but now why would China really care about our gas stoves, right? I mean, that to me is, so let's, the other day I said, we're headed down a path like Europe. And somebody told me that we're not. But, it seems to me that as Europe goes, California goes, then the rest of America goes.
Yeah, we're definitely headed down there.
17 states follow.
Yeah,
California.
17 states right off the bat. But it's like, so Europe has stopped using fossil fuels. That's in essence what I'm saying here in this last paragraph. And it's like, they stopped using fossil fuels. And if we stop using fossil fuels the way Europe does, our energy security is gone. Okay, not our energy strong, not our energy independence, but our energy security is gone, and that leaves the door wide open for anything to happen here in America. And China would probably be just sitting there very happy, and that's not what I'm looking for.
Nope. China bad.
Yeah.
Let me give you some links, okay, just to support what you just said. Okay. So you have that story. China is working to, get the United States to stop using fossil fuels. Why?
Wow.
Because the alternative that's being put out there is to use electric vehicles and renewables, wind and solar. Well, what do those alternatives rely on? They rely on this array of critical energy minerals, right? Lithium and copper and nickel, and you just go down the list. Who controls the supply chains for those energy minerals? China, as President Trump used to say.
They're playing chess with an unarmed opponent.
Yes. If we get off of fossil fuels, see, they know America is strong now because we can be self-reliant on oil and natural gas and coal. But if they are able to encourage us to get off of those things and go to these alternatives, well, then we're going to be subservient to China for our energy security, just like Europe has been for with Russia all these years.
Let me ask this, because this conversation is phenomenal with you guys bringing all that up. Y'all are the smart ones here, but let me ask this. When you have ESG reckoning coming up, investors are tired. We talked about BlackRock with 1.7 trillion in the first half of 2022. Investors are now asking for returns. 70% of most of the money that was made last year was made in the energy space. And there last week or week before, BP came out and said that they're getting out of the renewables game as much, and they're getting back into the energy because there's no money in renewables. So all of a sudden, the oil companies are going on. David and RT, do you guys see that we've reached investment hypocrisy? And they're now demanding returns. Is there hope that there is ESG investing is going to continue to crater, which means that it's going to continue lowering investments in things that have to be supported? Deborah Walt, I hate to keep quoting her, but she's got a company and they produce renewable energy and biodiesel and everything else with no subsidies. What are you guys' thoughts on ESG investing? Because all of that plays into what we just talked about.
Well, Dave, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
First and foremost, here we are talking about this circle that all the anti-oil and gas people are in. And I want to just talk about BP real quick, and how and correlate that with last week's State of the Union address. And that, BP had 40% based on David, your article, I believe BP was 40% in on renewables, and that they lost over $1 billion. Correct? Is that in a nutshell what happened? Or did I?
No, they made a big profit, but
on the renewables.
No, it was Siemens, the wind.
Oh, the Siemens got that. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, BP made a big profit, but just not as big as its competitors.
Right, but it wasn't in renewables.
It wasn't in their renewables.
Correct. I'm sorry. I got that story mixed up with mine from last week. I apologize. Yes, no, that BP did not see the returns in the renewables like they did in their oil last year, which means the Shells and the Exxons made a lot bigger return. Now, bringing that to something else with the State of the Union last week, that the president said that all those returns went to CEOs and shareholders. Okay. Last time I checked, shareholders are the American people. And that means the American people, despite everything that this president has done to ruin our economy, they were at least making a dollar somewhere in some investment. That, thank goodness, it wasn't in those renewables that have no returns. And I actually said that last week. I had the opportunity to sit in on a Dr. Ed Ireland's energy and entrepreneurship class last week, and just kind of listen.
Oh yeah, did you talk there, or do you?
I just went in to listen and enjoyed it with Dr. Ireland.
It's a great bunch of students he's got.
Yes, they're all very bright and all eager, and that's something. But I did tell them, I said, guys, those shareholders, that is you guys. That is your parents. That is the 401ks.
Was that your 8th grade? Did you go back to high school? 8th grade?
No, this is TCU.
It's a TCU,
man. But there is no money. And that's what makes Deborah so unique in the renewables world, is the only way any of these companies are making money is in the subsidies that they're getting.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's my big takeaway from what you asked is, hey, there is no money to be made right now in these renewables. David?
Well, I think there is a fatigue factor setting in with ESG. When you see Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan and what's his name at Tesla, Elon Musk, talking about how Elon Musk calls ESG a scam, and I tend to agree with him.
Satanic.
Yeah, and Jamie Dimon is very much down on it, and Larry Fink has had to resort to using talking points in which he claims to be a big fan of investing in oil and gas and other fossil fuel projects, when we know that his firm has systematically discriminated against such projects over the past decade. And that's all because there's this fatigue factor among the public and among CEOs at these businesses who are tired of being constantly hammered for ever stricter, ever increasing demands from the ESG investment community. So, yeah, I think there's some fatigue setting in. Whether that means it's all going to get rolled back, I doubt it, because there's so much political pressure underneath all of that. But at least we're getting a bit of a pause in the ratcheting up of the rhetoric. So that's nice.
David, you're the only smart one on this panel here, but
I'm just the only one that refuses to take a firm position.
No, you do. But when you put that hat on today, looking like Festus,
it's my thinking hat.
It's your thinking hat, and I done thunk. You said it was you started talking like a real Texican. You were throwing around some real lingo there.
That's the kind of hat my daddy always wore. So when I wear it, I tend to get a little bit more of a deep South Texas accent in my voice.
I was saying, dude, rock on. Okay. The other one that we have cooking around the corner, which dovetails into this whole thing, David, you and I were talking about this. U.S. to pour $30 million into lowering the cost of large wind turbines.
Yeah, and that's from the Department of Energy too, right? Isn't that a
Yes.
DOE thing?
Yeah, it's a DOE thing. And I was reading this and you had some more information on it. The first paragraph from the DOE. This is the DOE. This is not me writing it. Even though I'm looking for my Granholm so I can imitate, Miss Granholm, do my Granholm. I still like that joke. I got a lot of compliments. What happens if you had a combination of Fetterman and Granholm? U.S. Department of Energy. That was funny. I got a lot of people going, "You're really weird." The U.S. Department of DOE has announced $30 million of funding opportunity to advance the cost-effective domestic manufacturing of materials, including lightweight composites that would allow wind turbines to produce power more efficiently.
Well, I found it really interesting that announcement was made on the same day Siemens Gamesa, which lost $1 billion in its wind turbine manufacturing operation last year, announced that it wants to expand one of its big plants in the United States, but only if it gets new orders for its turbines and assistance from the government. And so I suspect at least part of that 30 million might end up going over to that gigantic 170-year-old German company.
Wow. All right, RT, I'm going to ask this. You're the financial wizard here. So if the taxpayers give money to Congress,
yes,
and then the Congress gives it to Ukraine, Ukraine gives it to FTX, and then FTX brings it up here and gives it to the political folks, right?
Right.
Okay. So if the taxpayers give it to the politicians give it over to Siemens, and then Siemens comes over and pockets that money so they can put more in here so that we can spend more money on the wind farm projects that we were going to reduce the cost, but that money went to Siemens. Did my head just explode?
If that was your financial question, yes, your head did just explode. And I was ready. I was prepared. I was paying 110% attention and was ready to go. But no, again, it just really shows that there is no money being made. Again, and I said this once already today, there's no money being made in renewables. There is no return on investment. And yet that is where trillions of dollars of investments have gone in the last 2 years, while we have lost billions of dollars in the oil and gas sector to drill new wells. And that is why we will see a higher oil price over the next 18 months.
You know what? I'm going to extend an offer here, and we put it in the show notes. If there is anybody in the oil and gas space or anybody in the renewable space, I've already asked Deborah Wald with Green Lily Energy to come on a panel later on. But what I would extend an offer also to is anybody in the renewable oil and gas or anything, especially politicians. I'd love me some politicians to come on this podcast. We'll hold a webinar for everybody, and we want anybody coming in. Send us your questions, and we love wind. We love solar. We love anything as long as it's cost effective, doesn't have to print money, and is recyclable. Yeah. Okay? You guys up with that?
I'm on board.
Sure.
Let's talk about it. I like solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, solutions are great. You just don't get them from politicians.
I know. I love it.
The only thing we get from politicians is complications and delays and disruptions of the marketplace that end up making energy more scarce, and thus higher priced. And that's
Okay,
what we've
this
got.
brings up a great one here, guys. Let me bring this up.
Okay, I'm boring Stu.
No, you're not.
Hey, speaking of, I liked your article, and I'm going to redo it or repost it. Is the one about hi, my name's David, and I'm a fossil fuel.
Wasn't that great?
I'm gonna repost it
enabler.
saying that, and hopefully other people do it too. It's like, hey, if you're a fossil fuel, come on.
Yeah, LinkedIn hasn't shadow banned that one yet.
Okay. Gavin Newsom, my buddy.
Yeah, your friend.
He's called me. Hey, I got a hotline to Gavin Newsom. He's saying, what do conservatives say? Okay. There's an article that came across my feed, and it says LA Times risible attack on oil profits. It is also talking about Gavin Newsom is complaining that he's blaming, kind of like Biden said to Putin's price hike. He's saying that there's not enough gas storage is why electricity is high. Excuse me. Okay.
Whoa.
I don't get it.
Gas or gasoline? Is he talking natural gas or gasoline? Is he talking gasoline?
Gasoline. Sorry.
Well, and people don't specify, right?
But then there's a pipeline gasoline. Didn't we talk about a gasoline from breaking from?
Yeah, Kinder Morgan's line had a disruption. They had a leak in a big gasoline line that takes gasoline from Los Angeles, Port of Los Angeles, into Las Vegas and feeds the Las Vegas market with gasoline. That was Friday and Saturday. They got it back online Saturday.
Okay. Anyway, Newsom's.
I don't know what storage has to do with any of that. Gasoline prices in California have been through the roof for decades.
Yeah, $7 a gallon, something like that.
Yeah, because of the policies of the California government.
I think what that really has to show right there is how politicians do not understand the energy sector at all. Right there, whether it's wind, solar, oil, natural gas, or coal. The fact that he just said that the price of electricity is high because we don't have enough gasoline storage is just, that makes me shake my head and kind of do what the young people do these days. Just, kind of do one of these right here. Right. Put my head on forehead and shake my head.
I don't get it.
It's a little odd. I don't understand the connection there at all. And even if he was talking about natural gas, what he says wouldn't make any sense.
Either one doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the author of this one. But anyway, as we come back around the corner, we're about out of time here, guys. RT, that's RT. Any relation to ET?
No.
Okay, just checking. Man, I just really appreciate your Crude Truth episodes. Tell our folks how they can find you.
Yes, people can find me at thecrudetruth.com or on my Twitter at truth_crude. And then also my great episodes of The Crude Truth are on YouTube and again at thecrudetruth.com. Or if they ever even have just any oil and gas questions about anything, they can reach out to me there too at thecrudetruthshow.com. But most of the days you'll find me out in the oil and gas industry, out in the field working. I know I sent you a photo, Stu, over the weekend. I was out in the field, and it was a little muddy because of all the rain and ice we've had for the last 2 weeks.
Well, with your permission, I'll tag that onto the back of this one because you're riding around. It's kind of cool.
Thank you.
But no, absolutely fantastic. And I appreciate your hard work out there, RT. I pick on you, but man, we need your energy.
And if I may, hey, for everybody out there, please check out my Substack, Crude Truth .substack. I'd like to get some feedback on that, and again, we're really trying to focus on that a little bit more this quarter and get some great stories and some great content out there. again, what David's doing is he's sharing the positive, he's sharing the negative, and that's just what I want to do as well with what we're doing. We got to get the word out there to let people know about how we can continue really to make the United States a truly energy secure place to live and be free.
Oh, absolutely. We just got to be careful what David shares. Any bodily fluids, or if he sneezes on you, I'm out, man. I don't want any of that sharing. But David, coming around, what's the last word for you? How can people find you? They can find you everywhere. I mean,
I'm all over the place. It's terrible.
You are.
I'm like a bad penny. I just keep showing up.
Or a booger.
You can find me at Substack at blackmon.substack.com. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. Where else? I don't even know where you can find me on. Anyway, I'm all over the place.
David and RT, I appreciate truly both of you, and really consider this time a treasure. And I also enjoy people being able to get a hold of you. David, you've had some folks reach in from bazillion places, other places. RT, it's also fun getting some things, but ask your questions, send them to either of their websites or any of us. We'll start answering our questions. We'll be live. And you can always find me, Stu Turley, and it's the Energy Newsbeat at substack.com or energynewsbeat.com. All right. We'll see you guys next time.